Thank you very much.
Jim, after the mayor's done, if you want to mention, I took the pad back, see if anybody wants to speak. No one signed up yet.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to mention it right now. Okay, we're just waiting for a recording machine, but I have a public service announcement in the meantime. Anyone wishing to address the council, please sign up at the podium, name and address. In case of an emergency, would everyone please exit the chamber, proceed down the right or left stairwell to the ground floor to exit the building to allow for emergency personnel to enter. And are we set? Okay, we're all set. Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. Please be seated. I now call this meeting open, January 8th, 2019. I please have roll call.
Alderman Ventura Morel.
Here.
Alderman Coop.
Excused.
Alderman Scott Childress.
Present.
Alderman Worthington. Here. Alderman Carey.
Here.
Alderman Davis.
Here.
Alderman O'Reilly.
Here.
Alderman Shabbat.
Here.
Alderman Shout.
We have a quorum. At this time, the chair would like to recognize the Honorable Steve Noble, Mayor of the City of Kingston, for the purpose of his annual State of the City address.
Thank you all so much this evening for joining us here at our annual address. I want to first just thank and recognize a couple of elected officials who have joined us this evening. First of all, I want to thank President Noble and apologize to all of my colleagues on the Common Council for having my back to you for the next few minutes. And so I do thank you all and thank you all for all of your work that you do for our city. I also would like to recognize, again, a couple of other elected officials that are here with us. First, I want to thank our newly sworn sheriff, Juan Figueroa. Juan, thank you very much. I also would like to recognize two of our county legislators that were able to make it this evening, Lynn Eckert and Brian Waltman. Thank you both. I'd also like to welcome a new face to us here in Kingston and a neighbor of mine, our new Health Alliance Interim Executive Director, Tom Brunel. And so, Tom, thank you for joining us, and I really look forward to working with you in the future. We also have representatives from a variety of different state offices that are here. There's two members here from the governor's office, both Tom and Dylan, thank you very much. Matthew from the comptroller's office, thank you for joining this evening. And so I'm going to get started. I hope everybody was able to find a parking spot here. We're doing a lot of work here in this city, and I recognize and appreciate everyone's patience. And I think just being able to just see it firsthand right here at City Hall with the roof work that we're having, I do appreciate, though, and I'm glad you all found a parking spot. And so our city is growing, and growth can sound scary sometimes. It might seem easier to remain still, to keep things the way they've always been. It may feel more comfortable to ignore new ideas and be surrounded by people who look and think alike. But that's how cities crumble. We have far too much at stake to be lulled into complacency. Not when we've come this far. I believe wholeheartedly that we can continue to move forward while still holding on to all that makes Kingston special. Our city has strong roots. We're here and we've made them to grow. Smart growth is possible. especially in a city as capable and committed as Kingston. We have a diverse, creative, and engaged community, eager to build a successful city where everyone can prosper. We're building new sidewalks, we're fixing underground utilities, we're improving our public transportation, we're creating socially responsible and progressive policies, preserving our historic assets, protecting our natural resources, and making the city's largest investment into quality housing in decades. There is no doubt the state of our city is strong. We're entering 2019 in an excellent financial position. I am proud to have delivered a budget that lowers tax rates again for both residential and commercial properties for now the third year in a row. We continue to carry a robust fund balance and maintain excellent credit ratings. We were successful in negotiating fair, multi-year agreements with both CSCA and the Kingston Professional Firefighters Association, and continue to work toward a positive resolution with the Police Benevolent Association. I want to thank all of our department leadership who work with me each and every day to ensure that we are providing high-quality services at the lowest possible cost. I also want to thank the Common Council for supporting our 2019 budget and authorizing the resources we need to effectively serve the public. Finally, I want to thank our City Comptroller, John Toohey, for his sound guidance and unwavering commitment to the city's taxpayer. One of the many ways we've been able to avoid raising taxes is by vigorously working to ensure that we're getting grant funding for a wide variety of projects: transportation, infrastructure, sustainability, public safety, and economic development projects. When I first took office in 2016, we were managing $8.8 million in grant revenue. As we just ended 2018, I am proud to say that we are now managing a portfolio of approximately $36.3 million in grants. In order to continue to move projects along in a timely manner and secure additional resources in the future, I'm establishing a new Office of Grants Management and expanding our staff. I want to thank the Common Council for supporting this critical expansion as part of the adoption of my 2019 recommended budget. I also want to thank Kristen Wilson, who has worked tirelessly to balance our needs to secure grant funding and our commitment to moving projects forward. I am confident that under Kristen's leadership, our new Office of Grants Management will continue to help our city grow. In 2018, we were thrilled to welcome Governor Cuomo back to the city of Kingston to announce the projects to be funded in the Uptown Saccade District by the governor's Downtown Revitalization Initiative. I know that's a little confusing, but it's all good. A total of 6 projects will be funded by this record-breaking $10 million award. In addition, the governor approved our strategic investment plan this year, which will now serve as a guide to advance all of the projects supported by our local planning committee and the community at large. In 2019, we will be working to move one of the largest and most popular projects forward, a $2.5 million investment into Dietz Stadium. Thanks to the overwhelming support of voters by public referendum, Kingston's Board of Education has been authorized to work with my administration on developing an agreement to transfer ownership of Dietz Stadium to the city so that we can access these funds and make critical improvements to the stadium. I want to thank Superintendent Dr. Paul Padalino for working with me on this important partnership. Once completed, I am confident that Kingston's students and our community as a whole will benefit tremendously. We will also see significant movement on the development of the Kingstonian, a mixed-use project at the corner of Wall and North Front Street. The state identified our public-private partnership with the Kingstonian as one of the most significant economic projects in the city's history. The DRI will also enable us to make major improvements to our transportation infrastructure, invest new funds into a grant and loan program for property owners, and stabilize a historic asset on Frog Alley. In 2019, I will be coming to the Common Council with a proposal to preserve another key historic institution in Uptown, identified during the DRI planning process, the Volunteer Firemen's Museum. Built in 1857, the Wiltwyck Fire Station, as it was known at the time, hosted the first meeting of what would become the City of Kingston's Common Council. This local treasure, is at risk at suffering irreversible structural damage if we do not act, and I urge the Common Council to join with me to save this historic icon. While I'm incredibly proud of all we have accomplished together, the work is far from done. It's cold tonight, the wind is starting to pick up, the rain will soon turn to ice, and tonight, our homeless shelters are full. The Ulster County Warming Center could have up to 20 individuals seeking a place to sleep and a hot meal. Families from Kingston are scattered around Ulster County, crowded in motel rooms. At the end of this month, I will be volunteering during the annual point-in-time homeless count, so I can gain a better understanding of the extent of homelessness among youth, adults, and families in our city. I look forward to working with the Ulster County Continuum of Care to determine how my administration can be an effective partner in ending homelessness in our community. I'm conscious of the fact that it is becoming increasingly harder to afford to live in our area. Rents are going up, houses are selling for record high prices, opportunities for home ownership feel out of grasp for so many. In order to successfully address these complex issues, we need to develop a toolbox of policies, programs, and partnerships. We've already made major progress with the development of the Kingston City Land Bank, and I am pleased to report that in 2019, we will be transferring 36 properties to the land bank. With the support of donors through the Community Foundation of the Hudson Valley, these 36 properties will be completely renovated, sold to first-time home buyers at an affordable price, and added back on the tax rolls. And I want to thank Brenna Robinson, the director of our Office of Economic and Community Development, for helping to lead this effort. Just like growth, affordable housing can seem like another scary term. Depending on who you ask, Kingston either has too much affordable housing or not nearly enough. The fact is, we have a responsibility to ensure that our policies are consistent with our commitment to smart, equitable growth. In 2019, I will be working with the City of Kingston Human Rights Commission to develop a series of housing policy initiatives to be presented to the Common Council, as well as to the Ulster County Legislature. I am deeply concerned that we have people in our community being denied access to housing because of the source of their income. We have out-of-town landlords who have allowed their properties to deteriorate to the point that the buildings must be condemned and tenants displaced. We see time after time tenants afraid to report any issues for fear of losing their housing. We have found landlords who have used the immigration status of their tenants as a way to intimidate them and raise the rents on their substandard apartments. These practices need to end. Access to safe and sanitary housing isn't negotiable. Affordable housing doesn't scare me. Knowing that some of my constituents, our neighbors, are at risk of homelessness or displacement, that's what scares me. In 2019, we are going to advance meaningful, realistic strategies to ensure that each one of us can continue to call Kingston home. In 2018, we continued our work to be a leader in sustainability, ultimately receiving the Silver Climate Smart Community certification, the highest level achieved by any municipality in New York State. Noticeable accomplishments this year include the installation of 3 electric vehicle charging stations in municipal parking lots, the expansion of our Clean Feet through the purchase of 3 additional electric vehicles, and the completion of both a natural resources inventory and a street and park tree inventory. In 2019, we will continue to advance our efforts toward protecting our natural resources and building a stronger community with a focus on open space planning, waterfront resiliency, adapting to sea level rise and flooding. Some of the major initiatives we have planned this year include retrofitting all street and park lights to LED, as well as the interior lights at 12 of our municipal buildings, completing Kingston's open space plan, retrofitting the windows here in City Hall with storm windows, installing 2 new electric vehicle public charging stations, and completing our municipal composting study. I want to thank the hardworking staff who are quite literally trying to save the world. And I also want to thank our environmental education and sustainability coordinator, Julie Noble, whose remarkable vision for a sustainable and resilient community can inspire us all to be better. In 2018, our Parks and Recreation Department continued to provide high-quality programming while maintaining our city's 150 acres of beautiful parkland, with 11 parks, 3 community centers, a riverfront beach, a community pool, and our beloved nature center. It's no surprise that our park system continues to attract thousands of visitors each year. Nearly 7,000 were served just in our registered programs alone. In 2019, we will be moving forward with a $100,000 capital investment to enhance our beautiful parks. Improvements slated for this year include new amenities at Kingston Point, Barman Park, Hutton Park, and our very popular Kingston Dog Park. I want to thank all of our staff who work to preserve our incredible parks and offer wonderful programs to children, adults, families, senior citizens. I also want to thank our department's superintendent, Kevin Gilfeather, who taught me a long time ago that the best leaders are those who empower others to grow. One of the things that I am most proud of, that we go consistently beyond providing those basic services, and that we work to improve the quality of life of all of our community members. By supporting the arts, we create community and stimulate economic growth. By creating healthy opportunities, we increase productivity and save healthcare costs. As an example, our Live Well Kingston Commission, under the leadership of Emily Flynn, is pulling together isolated organizations to align goals, share resources, learn best practices, and discover gaps in services. In 2018, our new Director of Arts and Cultural Affairs, Addie Farr, joined our team as a fierce advocate for enhancing the city's support and recognition of local artists, organizations, and businesses who contribute to the city every day. She has reinvigorated our gallery space on the ground floor, so make sure you check it out before you leave today, welcoming new and established artists to showcase their work. This office also played a critical role in bringing to light the challenges our local artists continue to face. In 2019, I look forward to working with the Kingston Arts Commission, the Midtown Arts District, Arts Mid-Hudson, and the O Positive Festival, and all of our other partners to ensure that our government is a resource for local artists to thrive. By working together and leveraging resources, we have also been able to make a significant impact on addressing the health and well-being of our local children. I am pleased to report that our Parks and Recreation Department facilitated a complete overhaul of the kitchen at the Everett Hodge Community Center on Franklin Street. This upgrade enabled our partners at Family of Woodstock to prepare and distribute 8,000 hot meals to children this past summer at sites throughout the city, including the Hodge Center, the Kingston Library, the Read and Write Program, the A.J. Williams African Roots Library, Community Action, the YMCA, the Boys and Girls Club, and the Center for Creative Education. The kitchen is now preparing 175 meals every day after school to provide dinner to the children at the Hodge and Roundout Center and the Boys and Girls Club. Together, with partners like People's Place, we can work to ensure that no child in Kingston goes hungry. In 2018, the brave men and women of the Kingston Police Department responded to thousands of calls for service, ranging from motor vehicle accidents to disputes to property damage to personal welfare checks. Our sworn officers respond to individuals in their most vulnerable moments, and it is truly remarkable the level of care and compassion they demonstrate on a daily basis, and it's what often is the most difficult circumstances. Our Kingston Police Commission has worked with department leadership and the community to adopt a series of key policies in 2018, including the Right to Know Act, procedures for our body-worn camera program, and strategies to attract more diverse applicants to our police force, resulting in the hiring of our first full-time bilingual police officer. In 2019, our department will continue to build stronger community relations by working with the Center for Creative Education, the Kingston City School District, community organizations, and local youth on the newly established Peaceful Guardians Project. I want to thank the members of the Kingston Police Department for their dedicated service, and Chief Tinty for your strong and sound leadership. In 2018, the Kingston Fire Department responded to 5,000 calls, including 8 multiple alarm fires. The department increased its people power with 4 new firefighters, thanks to our recently secured SAFER grant. We were also able to make major improvements and additions to our equipment, including the arrival of a brand new tiller ladder truck and the purchase of a new Engine 1. In 2019, we'll be purchasing a second set of turnout gear for all our firefighters, significantly reducing their exposure to harmful carcinogens. I want to thank the members of the Kingston Fire Department for their everyday acts of heroism, and to our Chief, Mark Brown, for your commitment to safety and well-being for all our residents. In 2018, the staff of the Department of Public Works worked to keep our city running smoothly. We paved 13 streets and put down 6,680 tons of blacktop. We cleaned and repaired 150 catch basins and repaired 78 manholes. We took the first steps in repairing the long-standing and worsening sinkhole on Henry Street, including replacing the storm sewer line and restabilizing the road, with more work to be done on that project this year. We collected over 7,800 tons of refuse and collected over 1,700 tons of recycled materials. And as we all know, 2018 was a rough winter. The department responded to 22 winter storms. We can only hope that this winter cuts us a break. We also advanced some incredible transportation projects with the support of the Department of Public Works, City Engineer, and Grants Manager, as well as the volunteers from the Kingston Land Trust. We were able to complete the first phase of the Hasbrook Delaware Parklet, and our Kingston Point Rail Trail is finally under construction and is set to open to the public later in 2019. We were fortunate to add a number of talented new members to our leadership team this past year, including our new city engineer, John Schultes, our new superintendent of public works, Ed Norman, and deputy superintendent Ryan Kuhn. We greeted their arrival with a huge list of projects. It will be all hands on deck as we usher in Kingston's most substantial investments in infrastructure in decades. Some of the major projects planned for 2019 include paving 15 more streets, completing the Jacobs Valley Storm Sewer Replacement Project, which will address the frequent flooding we see at the underpass on sometimes a daily basis. We will be designing and contracting with funding agencies, major sidewalk replacements and ADA curb cuts on both Franklin Street and Henry Street. We're going to be paving Hurley Avenue. We're also going to be improving sidewalks along Cornell Street adjacent to our municipal lot. We'll be working to transition from single stream recycling to a new dual stream recycling, and we'll be advancing the Broadway Streetscape Project, a multi-million-dollar overhaul of the Broadway corridor, which will include new ADA compliant sidewalks, coordinated traffic lights, new crosswalks, a protected bike lane, and a newly paved Broadway. This project will be going out to bid in 2019. New York State Assembly member Kevin Cahill, thank you for coming, continues to be a true champion of the city of Kingston. Thanks to his leadership, the Wirt Street Bridge reconstruction project will get off the ground in 2019, a nearly $32 million investment in our city's infrastructure. The historic bridge will be completely repaired and replaced by the fall of 2021 and is fully funded by the New York State Department of Transportation, costing our local Kingston taxpayers nothing. We owe a debt of gratitude to Assemblyman Kevin Cahill for his devotion to our community, and I look forward to working with him on major upcoming projects this year. Thank you, Kevin. I have an old friend who often says, if you don't have good policy and process, you don't have anything at all. In 2018, we spent a great deal of our effort working to address serious issues in our zoning ordinance, including a long-standing and problematic gap in excavation permit requirements and inconsistencies in the city code for our Zoning Board of Appeals. Recently, I released a call for volunteers to serve on a task force to help us modify our zoning codes that is aligned with our comprehensive plan. The efforts of this task force will dovetail with a new initiative we are working on with Hudson Valley Pattern for Progress to create a strategic action plan for the roughly 250 goals, objectives, and strategies identified in our comprehensive plan. Kingston is fortunate to have an extensive network of community partners working to improve the quality of life of our residents. People want to live and do business in communities that support healthy, responsible, and equitable growth. We're seeing incredible investments in core areas, including education, social justice, recreation, health, transportation, and housing. In 2018, we celebrated the completion of the first phase of Kingston High School's $137 million renovation and expansion. The classrooms in that school sure look a lot nicer than when I was there, but students today will be afforded the facility and technology they need to learn and thrive. I'm also pleased to report that Health Alliance is proceeding with its $92 million investment into Midtown, with a high-tech hospital campus on Mary's Avenue and a medical village on Broadway. In addition to dramatically improving access to quality healthcare, these facilities drive smart economic development and bring jobs that pay a living wage. RUPCO's Energy Square is another example of innovative and forward-thinking projects I'm excited to see come to fruition in the next year. Energy Square will take a vacant property on Cedar Street and adapt it into a 57-unit apartment building with 11,000 square feet dedicated to civic space to house the Center for Creative Education. It will be the Hudson Valley's first net zero affordable housing development, creating jobs and doubling tax revenue for the existing space. It is projects like these that move the city forward while ensuring the quality of life for all people here in Kingston. We also welcomed Ulster County's Restorative Justice and Community Empowerment Center in Midtown. This project, along with the in-development Linear Park and the SUNY Ulster Satellite Campus established at the former Sophie Finn School, is a stark reminder of the thoughtful and innovative solutions our county executive, Mike Hine, has created in our community. It is clear that while Mike may be moving on to a new opportunity in Albany, his legacy will remain forever with Kingston. It's been a good year for Kingston. It's been a privilege to serve as your mayor. For those of you that have lived and invested in Kingston during our most challenging times, thank you. And to those of you who have recently joined our community, welcome. I am confident that you will find that everyone has a place here in Kingston. This is my home. It's your home, and it's your home, and it's your home too. Let us continue to grow together, lifting up one another so that we can reach higher than we ever dreamed possible. Thank you, and have a good night.
Council is now going to take a 5-minute recess. Then we'll continue with business afterwards. Okay, I'd like to declare this meeting back in session. Can I get a motion to dispense with the minutes of the previous meeting and approve same?
Motion.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion is adopted, 8-0. Can I get a motion to dispense with the reading of the general bills?
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is adopted, 8-0. We will now enter into the public speaking portion of the meeting. The council has set aside a 30-minute allotment time for this purpose. Please give your name and address when you enter the podium and direct all your comments to the council chair, for none of the aldermen can answer questions or debate. Thank you very much. Do we have anybody signed up?
Joseph DeFalco.
Joseph DeFalco.
Yeah, thank you very much. Joseph DeFalco, 66 Glen Street. It's a lengthy act to follow. So let's try to cover some of the issues or things that were brought out. First of all, the projects and the initiatives that are going on started long before he got here. The grants, $30 million in grants, but he neglected to tell you how many of those grants are match grants. How much is it going to cost us? It sounds great. Hey, you got $36 million in grants, but it's going to cost us maybe $15 million. He said, he didn't mention any match. Oh, and then he commented on TUI. TUI, at one of the finance meetings, the chairman asked him how he attributed a $2 million gain in the fund balance. I don't accept his answer, that the departments were fiscally responsible, and that's how he attributes the extra $2 million in the fund balance. The clerk's office was $180,000 in the hole, the parks department was $200 in the hole, the police department had to come and ask for money. I don't accept that answer. First of all, he's cooking up the budgets. He presents a deficit budget. I know you heard this before, but this might be relevant to the $2 million that just appeared in the fund balance, that his poor explanation of why it's there. Presents a $1 million deficit budget, and 6 months later finds $3 million in surplus. That budget was cooked. There are other issues. At one of the finance meetings, the subject brought up about the zero net worth positions that are in the budget, okay? That we aren't getting paid, let's say, the environmental educators, to the tune of almost $200,000, whatever it is. We don't get no reimbursement from the school budget for that, for having them here. They don't even belong on our budget. This council recognized it once before and took them out of the budget. But because of the favoritism and nepotism that exists here, they overlook it. Oh, they're writing grants. They're writing grants. How much time do they put into these grants? Okay, they were already caught once before of double dipping, putting in 100% of time on their job and 50% of time on the grants. That's 150%. There's only 100% of anything. I recommend you do a desk audit on these environmental educators that are writing grants when we already pay a grant writer $75,000 or $100,000 to write grants. 21 grants were written out of the Parks Department. How much time was put into that, writing those grants? Okay? There should be a desk audit because I believe there's some double dipping going on because there were caught once before double dipping. Writing grants, taking the time, and taking the time here too. The municipal IDs. You know, coming up to public speaking, I can't address what the council says after I have public speaking. So let's go back to last month. I had public speaking, then the council got up and started their reasoning why they're voting for municipal IDs. We'll take Ward 6, Tony Davis gets up and exalts, well, when an undocumented person with no identification comes to school to pick up the kids, they can't pick up the kid. They have to go to the principal, they have to go to the dean, they have to stand on their head to get the kid. That's why I'm voting for this municipal ID. Again, they were paying for the school department. Why isn't the school issuing the ID for that person to pick up the kid? Why are we paying for it again? Got another alderman who ran for office on the platform. He wasn't for Sanctuary City, and what does he do? He votes for municipal IDs. That municipal IDs are fake. You can't even accept it here as a legal ID. You can't open a bank account with it. It's a feel-good, political, whatever. There's a lot to cover here. And I'll probably miss a few things. I won't forget Corruption Council, who takes committees into backdoor, illegal backdoor meetings. Okay? And then the committee prosecutes the charges without the prosecutor there. He says, oh, we made a decision. How could you make a decision? The accuser wasn't even in the room. Corrupt. The mayor gets brought up on charges for something, and he picks his own ethics board to investigate himself. It's unethical. This administration is corrupt, and I'll be here every chance I get. I am disappointed in the support I gave to some of these council people, and I'm going to change those things. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to address the council at this time? Please come forward. Name and address for the record.
Thank you for the opportunity to address you this evening. Council President, Aldermen, members of the press, and public. My name is Ellen DeFalco. I live at 66 Glen Street in the city of Kingston. My fortune cookie yesterday revealed that I should work on my diplomatic skills and avoid conflict at all costs. So I'm going to try. With that in mind, resolution number 8 this evening is short-sighted because parking spaces in our uptown business district are at a premium. And with an added loading zone for a boutique hotel, it's simply ridiculous. The loading zone is not exclusive for this boutique hotel, and to do away with 3 parking spaces on a busy street is doing more harm than good. Keep in mind that this council will be, at some point, addressing demolishing the Pike Plan canopies, and loading zones may not even be necessary. In addition, the suggested loading zone for North Front Street between Wall and Fair Streets is already a congested area. Did you ever try to navigate through the uptown business district when trucks are trying to make deliveries? It's nearly impossible. Did you blindly accept the review or suggestions from our safety officer as final. If you notice her words, would easily accommodate, or might help, and possibly are, in my mind, not reasons to amend our loading zones. Further evaluation is needed for possibly, and to look for other locations to relocate any meters removed, to accommodate need loading zones proposed. Look at the small words. Did anyone confer with Cuba? It appears that this loading zone legislation is accommodating one business owner and will outrage and inconvenience drivers when visiting the historic Stockade Business District. Traffic will continue to be snarled at the next street corner, but that's okay. This will keep our parking enforcement officers busy, and think of the additional revenue the tickets will generate. Delightful. All because one business owner needs hotel valet service. It's incredible. This resolution should be referred back to committee for further evaluation. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to address the council at this time?
My name is Gloria Waslin, and I'm babysitting two very fabulous parrots, Luciano and Arpad, that are owned by Doug Coop, who's on vacation. So I feel compelled to say something. I'm a member of Cuba, and I know that Doug has been to Cuba talking about the Kingstonian, and so has the mayor been to Kingstonian. And we took a vote at Cuba that unanimously thought this was a great idea for business development and to create a resurgence in the uptown community. So I just wanted to say that on behalf of Doug, who would have said it if he were here. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing no one else, oh,
All right. I wanted to just briefly talk about the Kingstonian and Fair Street extension and parking management. I hope that the council recognizes that we still do need parking management in Kingston. There hasn't been much going on in terms of advancing that since that first initial round of work, right after around the time of the State of the City last year. And it's not always that we need more parking. Maybe we just need better parking management. And there's much to do. The Kingstonian, at some point, the Kingstonian application process, the Common Council will be reviewing the proposed closing of a city street, as well as the conveyance of the parking lot land and a deviated pilot application for the Kingstonian. So I would like to encourage you to please watch the process and listen for comments from your constituents regarding this. By closing the street, would be losing a way for traffic to go. We would be burdening the pedestrian to have to walk through a park that would be partially closed. And what are the real reasons for closing that park? Are there any other ways that they could put garage ramps on the exterior of the building? Do the garage ramps have to be on Fair Street Extension? I hope that you will investigate and decide for yourself. Thanks very much.
thank you. Anyone else? Seeing no one else, I now declare the public speaking portion of the meeting closed. We will now enter into claims and communications. Hearing no discussion, they'll be on file in the clerk's office. Can I get a motion to dispense with the reading of the general bills and pay same?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The bills are paid, 8-0. We now enter into report of committees. Starting with resolution number 1.
Resolution number 1 of 2019, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, recommending approval for adopting the tentative order of business.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted, 8-0. We now go to resolution number 2.
Resolution number 2 of 2019, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, recommending approval for adopting the rules for the council for the year 2019.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted, 8-0. We now go to resolution number 3.
Resolution number 3 of 2019, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, recommending approval for designating the Daily Freeman as the official newspaper for the city for 2019.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted, 8-0. We now go to resolution number 4.
Resolution number 4 of 2019, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, recommending approval for renewing the City of Kingston's investment policy for the year 2019.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted, 8-0. We now move to resolution number 5.
Resolution number 5 of 2019, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, recommending approval for receiving the mayor's message.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted, 8-0. We now move to resolution number 6.
Resolution number 6 of 2019, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, adopting the management personnel manual as attached.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted, 8-0. We now go to resolution number 7.
Resolution number 7 of 2019, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, recommending approval for modifications to the 2019 wastewater treatment plant budget.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted, 8-0. We now move to resolution number 8.
Resolution number 8 of 2019, an ordinance amending an ordinance in relation to the traffic on the public streets of the City of Kingston, New York, adding a loading zone on John Street.
On the question? Alderman Schott.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to make a motion to replace Fair Street with Crown Street to make the location accurate, and also to make a motion to strike Section 1, B, and C for the committee to consider a more comprehensive plan.
Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question? We're going to call for the amendment. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution, or the amendment is adopted, 8-0. Now we're going to read the amended resolution and call for a vote. You have that?
This is the
Just read that. Section A.
Section A. Section A is removal of 2 parking meters, 3 parking spaces, approximately 70 feet in length.
Okay, and just, we're also adding a loading zone on St. John Street at the corner of Wall Street and Crown Street adjacent to 301 Wall Street. That's what you'll be voting on. On the question, Alderman Scott Childress.
Thank you, Mr. President. We are amending this precisely because there is some question about the other spaces that Diane Berquist pointed out. So we are also amending this because this actually started, that spot on John Street The initial request was not from the hotel, it was from Jane's Ice Cream, a business that does a lot of work right there, asking for a loading zone closer to them. So we actually been thinking about this longer than the request from the boutique hotel that's going in there. The other reason that we're, or at least that I'm in favor of it, is because if we did not have a loading zone there, then people who were driving up to the hotel would be stopping in traffic, and there's only enough room for one lane there if people are parked there. There would only be there would be no traffic passing at all while people unload their bags and things like that. So I take to heart the things that Ellen DeFalco said. We're going to look into this further. We also have the potential for more parking with the Kingstonian down the road. We're going to look at moving around some of the other loading zones in Uptown so that we make them more accessible to the businesses there. We also have trouble with trucks unloading, for instance, on North Front Street, so we'd like to find a way to put in a loading zone there. And if we do take out the Pike plan, but that could be a while and that's still conjectural, of course we would have more potential for loading zones, and we would like to look into that as well. But for all those reasons, this is why I'll be voting yes on this.
Anyone else on the question before I call for the vote? Alderman O'Reilly.
As we all know, parking's a premium uptown, and it's great to see new businesses coming in and needing access to those businesses. You know, I'm just a little concerned about the hotel and the loading zone. If this is the proper legislation to get that done right, that hotel is going to want a permanent empty spot in front of their hotel so that when guests come at all hours of the day and night, they can have a spot to pull into. I don't think that is the type of loading zone that Jane's Ice Cream is going to want. So I think we have two customers, two residents here, two business owners here who want two totally different things for the same spot. I think it could cause a conflict. I think we need to look at this a little bit more before we actually, I'm not saying don't put the loading zone in, I'm saying are we putting the correct loading zone in? It's something to think about.
Anyone
Thank
else? Hearing no one else, I'm going to call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The resolution is adopted, 8-0. We now move on to resolution number 9.
Resolution number 9 of 2019, an ordinance amending an ordinance in relation to traffic on public streets of the city of Kingston, New York, amending no parking on Schneider Avenue.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted, 8-0. We now move to resolution number 10.
Resolution number 10 of 2019, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, recommending approval for adding Water Department water and sewer charges to the 2019 tax bills.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted, 8-0. We now move to resolution number 11.
Resolution number 11 of 2019, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, referring a request for a zoning change at 537 Broadway, tax map number 56.25-5-100, to the City of Kingston Planning Board, the Ulster County Planning Board, and scheduling a public hearing regarding the requested change, recommending a negative declaration of environmental significance.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted, 8-0. That concludes the resolutions for this evening. Before I ask for a motion to adjourn, is there anyone? Alderman Shabbat.
Another young man, 41 years old, Dominic Yontas from Kentucky. Died way too early in his life. He's behind his mom and dad, Donald in Virginia, as well as a wife, 2 children, and many relatives. Sad to see somebody so young go so quickly. The other
It was in today's paper, by the way. It was in today's paper. Yeah.
Anyway, probably a lot of us here know Bob. What should we call Bob? Bone be Bone. Is a local character, retired school teacher, photographer, loves to travel. He's been traveling all over the world. Good guy to have around. He's always full of jokes, and we have a good time together.
Anyone else? I'm sorry, Alderman Davis.
Yes, I would like to close with the passing of Ann and P. Smith. She wasn't in my ward, but many of us knew Miss Ann, as she was referred to as. She died January 3rd at the age of 87. She's employed at Head Start. If you know about downtown, Head Start started in the Rondout neighborhood center. She was one of the people who got that started down there back in the late 60s, early 70s. She was a member of the NAACP, the King's Kids program in Point of Praise Church. She leaves behind several children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. She will really be greatly missed. Her funeral will be this Saturday at the Point of Praise Church and Hurley Avenue. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Mr. President,
Alderman O'Reilly.
I'd like to end the session in memory of John Bailey. John was a teacher in the Kingston City Schools. Many of us had John as a teacher. He's a wonderful man. I remember him as just enjoying life, and he always said to me, Patrick, enjoy your life, enjoy your life. He was just that kind of guy, hardworking, worked his way up and became a director at Kingston City Schools. Just a wonderful man, and I'm sad for his passing. Thank you.
Is there anyone else? Well, I tried to look up this obituary for this person that I forgot and left at home. No? Okay. Anyway, I'd like to close the meeting in memory of Frank Spada. I believe he's in Dernbecker Street. And he's related to the Spada family, and they're very, well-to-do family, publicly and socially, and I can't find his thing here, so I'm going to have to get the details later. I apologize, but I brought that with me, and God knows where it is. So, anyone else? Hearing no one, I will call for a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We hereby stand adjourned until the next regular scheduled meeting. Thank you very much.